Hello, welcome to my channel, Corona Fine Art. Today I am continuing my series of meditative sketching. So I wanted to go ahead and read the quote from my sketchbook today. It says, "Wilderness is worth saving for what it can mean to itself as part of the conservation ethic, that the saving is imperative to civilization and all mankind, whether or not all men yet know it." And it is by Robinson Jeffers. And I think it's very adequate for the sketch that I did today, which is a monarch butterfly. I actually listened to a webinar on the subject, something that, staying at home is an activity that we can learn from and at the same time occupy our time with, so that we don't become so anxious or stressed about the news and other things that are going on around us. So I listened to this webinar on the monarch butterflies, and it inspired me to do this sketch today, even though I wasn't outside, but it is nature related. So I wanted to just tell you some facts about the monarch butterflies as I draw this on my sketchbook. And I did this on the same sketchbook that I used the other day when I was sketching outside, using some different tools. So I just found some pens around my house. Not everybody might have art materials such as color pencils or markers or paint, but mostly everybody has a pencil or a pen. So I chose today to use some pens. I have different colors here, and you're certainly free to use any color pen that you have, and I have some different colors, but I mostly stuck to the black pen, and I will also be using some Sharpie just to outline some of the drawing at the end, but you can skip the Sharpie if you don't have one and just use any pen that you have or pencil. So let me go ahead and start reading some of these wonderful facts about the butterflies, and each year I go outside and I look for the monarchs, borderline springtime, summer, and just look for places where there's some milkweed and seeing the caterpillars. And every year I'm lucky enough to see a few of them. Some people tell me that each year they see less and less butterflies around because their habitats are being destroyed. For example, sometimes there's some meadows where the milkweed grows on the sides of the road, and those areas get destroyed, through mowing and just people not really knowing how important those plants are. And maybe sometimes they even know, but they just don't care about, the butterflies or the ecosystem or the habitat or the plants. So those get destroyed anyway. So that's why I thought, today's quote from my journal was so on point for the sketch as well that I did on the page. So in, learning about these butterflies is really interesting to me, and it's something that I try to do every year. Maybe 2 years ago, actually, I had some butterflies of my own where somebody gave me some caterpillars to look after, and I was able to see the whole process of them, building their chrysalis and coming out. And it was just my first time doing that, I think last year. It was such a beautiful experience, or 2 years ago, I think, but it was really interesting and something I had never done before, so it's really cool. Alright, so getting into the facts of the monarch butterfly. So monarch butterflies are native to North and South America, but they spread to other warm places where milkweed grows. So again, that plant is really important to the growth of the monarch population. So they're no longer found in South America, but North American monarchs are divided into two main groups. The Western monarchs, which breed most west of the Rocky Mountains and overwinter in South California, and the Eastern monarchs, which breed in Great Plains in Canada and overwinter in central Mexico. There are two populations in Hawaii, Portugal and Spain, and Australia, New Zealand, and elsewhere in Oceania. So now about the life cycle. The female monarch butterfly lays eggs individually on the leaf of a milkweed plant. Attaching it with a bit of glue she secretes. Female usually lays between 300 and 500 eggs over a 2 to 5 week period. After a few days, the eggs hatch into larvae, otherwise known as caterpillars in the moth and butterfly world. So the caterpillars just focus on growing, and they spend most of their time eating, and they feed only on milkweed, which is why the female laid her eggs on the milkweed leaves in the first place. So that's why that plant is also so imperative to the population of the monarchs, because not only do the female butterflies lay their eggs there, but when the larvae come out of the eggs, they need the leaves of the plant to feed on. So the caterpillars, they eat their fill for about 2 weeks, and then they spin protective cases around them to enter the pupa stage, which is also called chrysalis. About a week or two later, they finish the metamorphosis and emerge as fully formed black and orange adult monarch butterflies. So one thing that I observed, when I was just observing the cycle of the monarch butterfly, is that it just passed before my eyes. Like I would look out 1 or 2 days later and the chrysalis formed already, from the last time that I saw was the caterpillar, and then the next time I saw it was already ready to come out. So it just passes very quickly, and if you're raising your own butterflies, then you need to be very attentive to the different things that happen. So the fence, the monarch's color pattern makes them easy to identify, and that's the idea. The distinctive colors warn predators that they're foul-tasting and poisonous. The poison comes from their diet. Mealweed is toxic, but monarchs have evolved not only to tolerate it, but to use it to their advantage by storing the toxins in their body and making themselves poisonous predators such as birds. So that's very interesting too, that even when they're grown, their diet affects their defense mechanism. So now let me talk about the migration of the monarch butterfly. So in the east, only monarchs that emerge in the late summer or early fall make the annual migration south for the winter. So as the days get shorter and the weather cooler, they know it's time to abandon their breeding grounds in the northern US and Canada and head south to the mountains of central Mexico where it's warmer. So some migrate up to 3,000 miles. That is so impressive for a small insect like that to travel so far. So when they arrive to Mexico, they huddle together on oyamel fir trees to wait out the winter. Once the days start growing longer again, they begin to move back north, stopping somewhere along the route to lay eggs. Then the next generation continues farther north and stops to lay eggs. The process may repeat over 4 or 5 generations before the monarchs have reached Canada again. Wow. So there's multiple generations traveling. Western monarchs head to California coast for the winter, stopping at one of several hundred known spots along the coast to wait out the cold. When spring comes, they disperse across California and other western states. How do monarchs make such a long journey? They use the sun to stay on course, but they also have a magnetic compass to help them navigate on cloudy days. A special gene for highly efficient muscles gives them an advantage for long-distance flight. And during the presentation, at the webinar, I saw a picture of the butterfly after the long trip, and it just looks so fresh, like nothing had happened to it. 3,000 miles was nothing to the butterfly. So it was, very impressive to see that. So some of the threats for the butterfly's survival, they have declined by more than 99% since the 1980s. Eastern monarchs have declined by an estimated 80%. So Western, 99% decline, Eastern, 80% decline. So conservation groups have petitioned the U.S. government to add the monarch butterfly to the Endangered Species Act list. While a decision has not been yet made, it's clear the species is in decline, facing a number of threats. So the disappearance of milkweed is a major reason for their population decline. That's where they lay their eggs, the only food they eat, and they used to grow in and around agricultural crops. But their systematic removal of milkweed from fields in recent years, as well as increased use of herbicides and mowing alongside roads and ditches, has significantly reduced the amount of milkweed available. Climate change is also a concern for numerous reasons. And let's talk a little bit about conservation before finishing my video here. Public awareness campaigns encourage people to plant milkweed in their yards and cities. So you just have to look up, the right type for your region. And there are also a number of citizen scientist opportunities where regular people can help scientists collect data, which is critical for developing conservation policies to protect monarchs. There are monarch sanctuaries to protect the butterfly's winter habitats and attract tourists who help provide funding to support their efforts. There's also many large-scale projects to protect the habitat, to better managing the land for pollinators, replenishing milkweed, raise awareness, and gather new scientific evidence to better understand monarchs. So, loads of information out there. If you would like to help, with that preservation of the monarch butterflies and helping the population, definitely go out and do a search on how you can help to do that. So thank you for watching my video. I had fun today learning about the monarchs and doing a, short sketching of them with the pen and Sharpie. Very simple to do at home. I hope that you visit my website, coronafineart.com, for more information about myself as an artist and also my paintings. And keep an eye out for future videos that I will post on this site, on my YouTube. I'm hoping to do one video per week or more on just different ideas on how to stay active during this time and do more sketching and meditation through art, which is very important at this time. So thank you and enjoy your sketching. Have fun. Until next time.